Infrastructure is the lifeblood to an effective supply chain and is broken into two main categories, hard versus soft. Hard infrastructure is more technical and is best described as physical components, from roads and railways all the way to telecommunications. These physical components provide our society with the means to goods and services we use each day. The principle of soft infrastructure is functionality. It facilitates the production and distribution of goods and services, better described as a plan of action or a set of rules and guidelines to an overall goal. Today we team up with Sanding Ovations out of Treasure Island, Florida to cover the Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Festival. Welcome to North Shore Infrastructure. I'm your host, Sean Donahue. Here with me is Meredith Corson of Sanding Ovations, located in Florida. Meredith, tell us a little bit about what we'll be doing for the next 3 days.
Well, this is the preparation. You know, it's a big event, a lot happens, and there's a lot that goes into preparing for it. We've added 5 sculptors this year. It's a 10-year anniversary. We're really excited about that. But what that means is we need more forms. So the next few days we're going to be building forms. It's more of a box without a top or without a bottom.
Okay.
And all it is to contain the sand while they're compacting it. It's much like concrete work. When you're pouring concrete, it's just to hold the sand while they're compacting it.
Excellent. Now I understand that you have to introduce me to somebody who knows a little bit about how this all works.
Yeah, we have a person on our staff called the tech supervisor, and that's our son Ben Doubleday, and he'll be leading you through the whole process of building the forms.
Excellent. Why don't we go meet him?
Let's go meet Ben.
All right.
Here's Ben. Hey Ben.
Hey, Dave.
Like to meet Sean.
How's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I understand that you're the technician here. You know everything, the ins and the outs as to what we'll be doing. So we'll be working closely together. Meredith told me a little bit about you, so I'm excited to get working. What is all of this?
What this all is our barrels for water and everything that it takes to keep all these sculptures going. All of our wooden forms that we have to put together that contain the sand, so we do what we call a pound up. We have an additional 5 sculptors coming in this year, so this is enough wooden forms and barrels to take care of 10 sculptures. We need an additional 5. So today we're going to be building a lot more of what you see here, these wooden forms.
My name is Bob Upton. I am a Revere Beach enthusiast. I collect and teach and preserve and promote the rich history of Revere Beach. Revere Beach is America's first public beach. It's officially designated as so. As a matter of fact, in 2003, Revere Beach was recognized by the Department of Interior as a National Historic Landmark. So Revere Beach has a significant history, and particularly when it comes to American history. It's owned by the state of Massachusetts. It's managed by the Department of Conservation and Recreation. The Revere Beach was taken by eminent domain in 1896 because it was a gathering place. It was a cultural gathering place, a melting pot. Before it was the Department of Conservation and Recreation, it originally was the Metropolitan Park Commission, and then the Metropolitan District Commission, and today it's currently known as the Department of Conservation and Recreation. And it's their responsibility to maintain the beach, and they do a great job at it. I think the main attraction for most people is the beautiful crescent shape of the beach itself. The coastline is beautiful. People love to come to the ocean, but when you get here, you not only see a beautiful crescent-shaped beach, but you hear the birds, you see the seagulls, you see the planes coming in. It's a great place for rest and relaxation. It's certainly a great place for exercise. There were more than 4 roller coasters on the beach at one time in the early 1930s. Over the course of the last century, there's been more than 12 roller coasters that have been on Revere Beach. We've had the carousels, we've had the Dodgems, the Virginia Rail. The Cyclone roller coaster was one of the very last significant attractions on Revere Beach, and that closed down in the late 1960s. I think 1969 was the time of the first fire that was at the Cyclone. The Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Festival this year is going to be its 10th year in operation, and every year it just seems to get bigger and better. It's run by the Revere Beach Partnership. That's a wonderful organization. They've done a lot of work over a number of years to make this a successful event.
Now that we have our history, the building process begins. So right now, we've got the wood that we're going to use to build more forms. Generally, at the Sandcastle Festival, we have about 10 sculptors. This year they're adding 5, so we're going to turn this wood into forms. The sweating has begun.
Yes. And after this comes the spooning.
Woo! Spoon. Wait a second. I didn't sign up for any spooning. Yeah, we could probably do this in teams.
Might be able to keep this rental under 29 bucks.
She's on the phone and moving wood. Talk about rock stars. Wood's loaded. Now we have to build some stuff. We gotta rip it, nail it, place it. Look at it. Dan and Meredith are the owners of Sanding Ovations, and between them they have over 40 years experience in sand sculpting. Dan now holds 8 world championships, and Meredith has the honor of being the first female ever to win a medal at a world championship. So you want to make this flush? Yeah. So 2 at a time, right?
Go. Yeah.
Into 2
2
pieces, 2 feet each.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yep, I'm the new guy. I'm definitely new. All right. Try to be less of a pain in the ass.
Come on, Sean.
All right, let's give it a whack here.
Remember the rule of thumb, if you walk away with the majority of your fingers or limbs, we're good.
6 or more, that's a majority.
6 or more.
There we go.
You got a little safety trigger right here. You got to squeeze that in along with the trigger.
All right.
Beautiful.
I screw things up. I'll have to admit that. I did that last one left-handed, so I hope it went all right. Pretty much. Well, see, he gets the advantage because you get the flap on the other side, and
For Meredith,
saw.
this is called a saw.
Not a drill. And she's in charge. Bing, bang, boom.
Let's line up 4 again.
Sounds good. Got it. It's sawdust. It's in your camera.
You got it there, Spaghetti Arms. Captain Spaghetti. Sweet.
Sawdust, sawdust, the dustiest sawdust in the sawdusty world. That doesn't make sense.
15 of these, this will be 16.
Okay.
A total of 16, but 15 more cut at here. That gives us 16 6-footers and 16 2-footers.
Together, Dan and Meredith travel the world creating sand sculptures for hundreds of clients each year. Between the two of them, they hold 15 World Championship medals and have won or at least placed in every major competition they've entered. Their sculptures are emotional, thought-provoking, and often striking in their simplicity, or at the end of the spectrum, incredibly detailed. They organize the annual Sanding Ovations Master Cup competition held in Treasure Island, Florida, the weekend before Thanksgiving, and they also organize the Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Competition held in Revere Beach every July.
Rock stars on the beach this week.
Hey, thanks, I appreciate it.
It is all right.
Right now, we gotta make sure that all this wood is ripped appropriately so we can build the right forms. Now each form is different in size based on how high you go. Basically what they'll do is they build these forms up and they give them to the sculptors, and they design the forms the way that they want their sculpture to come out. So, we have to build them for them. Sanding Ovations has sculpted commission pieces for clients such as the NFL Super Bowl, the NCAA Final Four, the Outback Bowl, Budweiser, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Frito-Lay, SeaWorld, Disney World, and Busch Gardens, just to name a few.
How many do we have over there?
Figure something new guy, put it all down wrong, so it's hard to count. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of these.
10?
Yeah.
It's be 11, 12, 13,
12 of
14,
the little
15.
ones, yeah.
There's 12 total right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 12 of these
So
guys.
This would be 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This will make 20.
So how old are you in there? 17? All right, cool. So in high school you playing sports or doing that stuff? All right, no doubt. You look like a basketball guy.
Yeah, I take you around.
I'm not much of a basketball guy. I'm shaped like a basketball, but...
You'll let Nick try to screw it.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna give you a little trick over here. Because I know you're not Mr. Laser Eye.
Camera's on you. All right, move your hand out of there now. That's why you don't want your finger down there, because that thing hurts when it comes down.
Fumble!
Fumbleia.
Hey, burrito ice.
What are you doing wrong? The camera's pointed at you. That's what's going on.
Oh, you're getting them all nervous now. No, you're not going straight on it.
Nick couldn't finish the screw, so they fired him. I'm just kidding. He's related to everybody here.
Make sure these are squeezed tight, and then squeeze that one tight, and then sink it.
Okay.
Come down to this end.
Squeeze them.
There we go. Now screw it off.
Middle. I called him Nick. And there's a finished form. Stack them up. They interlock. You get the idea. America. Welcome back. Day 2 here. The forms are built. Basically what we're working on now is creating some water supply. And what is generally done before this year is these barrels that you see all around us were just filled with water. Meredith, tell us a little bit about this year's transition. I understand that we're going to actually make it easier for our sculptors this year.
Yeah, actually what's really nice is they're not going to have to, as you said before, sacrifice the energy. What happened in previous years is each sculptor will literally use thousands of gallons of water. Each one of these is 5 gallons. They'll fill this barrel up with a hose that we have going to each end of the plots, continuously filling this barrel and dipping in and taking it out. They will do that 500-600 times with this one bucket. This year what's happened, the water source in previous years is from one spigot down by the pavilion. Because the location has moved a little bit north, we now have access to the fire hydrants, which now means we don't have to use these barrels anymore. Each sculptor will have a hose going directly to their plot. There's so much energy they're not going to have to use. The sculptures will be, they can put all that attention, that physical attention, into the sculpture itself. We're going to have some beautiful work.
So we got the PVC piping. Each bundle weighs out to about 50 feet. We're placing this down to make this easier for the sculptors. Moving the pipes with my pipes. Moving pipes with my pipes. One bundle down, a million to go. Like, these guys really care about sandcastles. I totally understand. They're great. 50 feet of PVC piping on its way down. As you can see, this is a lot of work. Moving these PVC pipes 50 feet down, and you can imagine the strain on Sanding Ovations, moving water from the pavilion all the way down here. The fact that we've got 5 more sculptors added to this adds a little bit more strain on Sanding Ovations. We're laying this pipe out, saving some energy when the sand sculpting begins. So the last bundle of 50 feet of PVC piping, it's all laid out. So what we gotta do now is make sure the measurements are correct. These guys are doing right down here with tape and sticks. They're measuring 50 feet. All 15 sculptors have access to water right there and then. That way they're not moving water from end to end and wasting energy. So it's important that we're doing this now. It's definitely a revolution in the 10 years that they've been doing the Revere Beach Sand Sculpting Festival. So overall, everybody's pretty excited about this, and we'll see why soon.
I'm putting these couplings down every 10 feet so we can connect all these pipes together, giving us a total of 700 feet.
Ben, tell us what kind of materials we're working with here.
This is all PVC pipe, Schedule 40. It's made for water lines, sprinkler systems, etc., etc. To put this all together, you have to use a primer, a purple primer that you want to make sure you don't get on your hands because you'll never get it off and you'll have purple fingertips. But first you have to prime every single hub that you see on every fitting, the end of every piece of pipe. You have to prime everything first with this, then you use the glue and glue everything together. So it's going to be a pretty lengthy process, and again we have 700 plus feet of this stuff to glue together. This primer is to condition a pipe. It basically cleans all the dirt and all the grime out of the pipe, and it starts to soften the pipe because the actual glue itself melts the pipe together, and this just basically starts that process. It's just gluing this stuff and sticking it together. That's about it. There's just a lot of it to do, and hopefully it doesn't come apart.
So we gotta lay these pipes out right now. It's basically like a big huge assembly line. That way Ben can work his way up, gluing these pipes together. So it's me and Nick's job to make sure they're in the right place. Piping, piping, piping. We are doing piping. Laying all the piping, hoorah! Lay the pipe, 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 lay the pipe. Last pipe. So as you can see, this extends all the way down to where we began, the pavilion that we were building these forms at. Right now, Ben is securing these pipes together. There'll be fire hydrant pressure coming through these, so it's important that they do it the right way.
Once it's all primed, then you grab your glue and do one side of a fitting at a time. Set that down, glue the pipe. Now when you put these things together, it's important that you put them together and do a quarter turn. Then you have to hold it tight for a few seconds. If you don't hold it tight, what it does, it wants to hydraulic itself apart and push the fitting back off.
Okay.
Now it should stay. Now you go through and you glue the other side of the coupling. Glue the pipe. Stick it in and quarter turn and hold it.
Now when these are all finished and dried, that's when you guys will test whether or not they work, then
We'll hook them up to the fire hydrant and put
Right.
it under pressure, make sure that everything holds.
Okay, cool.
We don't want it squirting all over the place.
Right. So how long does it usually take for this stuff to dry?
In my world or the real world?
The real world.
Oh, real world, I think I say 12 hours or something like that.
What about your world?
About 20 minutes.
All right, here we go. All right, so the sand's being dropped. Ben has laid and fixed all the piping, so we should have water for each station, and each sculptor will have their own spigot. Right now, as you can see behind me, we've got 2 truckloads of sand being dumped right here on Revere Beach. There's actually 10 truckloads of sand that are going to be delivered here, and each truckload weighs 33 tons. They'll be moving down the beach with an excavator, and a bobcat will be helping them maneuver. So today's going to be a high-impact day in regards to infrastructure. Let's go. Since we began shooting the Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Competition with Sanding Ovations, the most common question asked of me was, how do they actually build those sculptures? They have to use something other than just sand, right? No. In actuality, all that the sculptors use is sand and water. The sand is a fine granite dust, which is shipped from North New Hampshire. With a lot of hard work and a little know-how, these sculptors are able to turn these tiny grains into art.
Right now what Dan and Nick are doing is marking the center of the plot. The sand has arrived, as you can see, and they're distributing the sand. So where they mark is the center for each sculptor's plot, and each sculptor gets about 12 tons of sand.
Sanding Ovations can be seen on the Travel Channel's Sand Blasters, the Extreme Sand Sculpting Competition, and Sand Wars. They were also featured on the Today Show with Al Roker. You might have seen Al Roker carved out of sand by Dan Doubleday. In this TV show host's opinion, Sanding Ovations and the Revere Beach Partnership are among the elite when it comes to organizing a successful event such as the Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Festival, and they've done so for the past 10 years. With the sand finally in place, our piping is put to the test, the hoses are connected, and everything is in operating standard. The event is almost underway, but not before a little more physical labor. Dig in a trench. Dig in a trench.
Good Lord.
Ben, so these are some of the forms that we built. It looks like you're setting these up for a specific reason. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we have to, all these forms that we built the other day, we have to unload all these things, get them towards the middle of all the plots, because when the sculptors show up, they're going to start grabbing the forms they need so they can start doing their sculptures. We also need these right away so we can start doing our group carve, which is the first sculpture to be built.
I predict many splinters. It's 2-footer? No, this is...
That's 2.5. Should lean up right there.
Right there, go. You have a keen eye.
Trying to figure out how your little Gumby arms are going to lift it. Well, this is Nick Cream Pie Doubleday. There you go, Nick.
You know, Nick definitely plays the low guy on the totem pole pretty well.
Oh, he does.
He doesn't really complain.
He's kind of like the cookie in the middle. That's a little odd size there.
Yeah. I think I might have another one of those.
Downtime.
We're down here back at Revere Beach. It's Monday morning. As you can see behind me, the gates have been set, the sand has been dropped. Water is accessible to all these sculptors, which is actually a luxury in itself. Right now what we're doing is we're moving some forms from pile to pile. That way when the sculptors come in, that they're good to go. See, you were smart, you wore gloves. You must have had a couple doozy of splinters. So it's important, these guys use these forms so they can pack their sand in and around. So what we're gonna be doing is helping some of the sculptors get their forms in place. That way they can start pounding their sand. It's like an extreme sandcastle building. For the extreme. I'm already sweating. In places I never knew I had.
The Revere Beach Partnership expects upwards to 350,000 visitors in attendance this year. The 10th annual Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Festival is one of the largest sand sculpting contests in the country and attracts master sculptors from around the world. The event is capped off with a concert and a fireworks display that promises to be among the best. As the master sculptors add their finishing touches, let's review the rules and judging criteria. The plot size is 18 feet by 18 feet. Only sand and water are allowed. Sculptors receive approximately 12 tons of sand, and can work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a 45-minute lunch break. No work will be allowed during the lunch break. There is a total of 30 hours of competition, and only the master sculptor may work in the plot. Assistants may help remove forms. All forms must be outside the plot prior to start time, and all forms must be removed prior to judging. All pound-up sand must be altered by hand. Judging will be done by the sculptors themselves using the Sanding Ovations report card system, grading all sculptures except their own. There are 6 criteria for judging. They are overall impact, wow factor, quality of carving, usage of sand, degree of difficulty, originality, and artistic impression. The prizes go as follows. First prize is $5,000. Second prize is $4,000. Third prize is $3,000. Fourth prize is $2,000. And last but not least, the People's Choice, which is a prize of $1,000, which will be awarded to the sculpture hand-chosen by those in attendance of the Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Festival. Walter is 71 years old and may be the oldest sand sculptor in captivity. He lives in South Padre Island, Texas, and says that sand has taken over his life. He's been carving since 1986. Lucinda Sandy Feet of South Padre Island, Texas, has been competing at major events all around the globe for over 2 decades. Benjamin began sand sculpting in 1988 and has won many championships and awards and continues to do that to this day. Dan Belcher has created professional sand sculptures around the world since 1990. Competitively, he's won 14 world championships. Better known as Joby, this is his 4th consecutive year with a first-place sculpture at the Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Festival. I'm Sean Donahue with LinCam TV, wishing you all the best.
Welcome back, day 2. We had a little bit of rain. Right now, so far, let's redo. Flip, floppity, floop. Right now, what we're doing is we're moving some forms from.
This is different.
How's that for your audio, Davey? So the taller, the taller form, the shorter, the higher, the wood will be stacked, and the wider, you'll see them wider. So you'll end up seeing that a little bit later on. But they can be interlocked, as you can see. So what they do is they build them this way, we stack them, and then that's the finished product.
Do you know how the words?
Me and Nick can tag team this guy. That didn't sound right. Now I'm on a list. There you go.
What kind of show are we doing here? This comes after the spooning.
Sometimes before. And you're gone too far, don't you know it don't matter anyway. What?